freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-taught lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same. And if you and I don't do this, then you and I may well spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it once was like in America when men were free.
Hey everybody, welcome to the very first annual Gun Owners of America G.O.A.L.S event. We are so excited to be here in Knoxville, Tennessee, and we decided to dive in with one of our most favorite people on the planet, Michael Sodini of Walk the Talk America. Michael, thank you for being here.
Hey, thank you for having me. I'm so honored. My favorite couple in the industry, and to be the first to kick off G.O.A.L.S and your first interview here, that means something to me. So awesome.
Yeah, this is such a great event. I really do hope this becomes an annual thing because it does bring together the industry, it brings together media, it brings together people that are doing advocacy for multiple things. And your area of advocacy is really pretty unique in the Second Amendment firearms industry space. So folks that have been living under a rock and haven't yet heard of the work you're doing, give us an idea of what Walk the Talk America is.
I would say we're the very first organization from the firearms industry, homegrown. Everybody that is involved in the organization is from the firearms industry that tackles mental health, getting solutions to gun owners who may be in crisis or never even thought about their mental health, thought that guns and mental health were mutually exclusive, being able to provide them resources without fear of consequence. But there's another layer to this, which is like an educational advocacy piece, which is also going out and teaching everybody outside of the 2A community about us and bringing them into our world. But we're, for the first time, providing our own solutions to these problems that we've always known is an issue, but we've never had anything come from our side. It's always kind of been like, well, this is a right, this is a second amendment, and it's true, right? Like, probably from my cold dead hands, like it's our constitutional right, but at the same time, now we're coming with our own solutions. So we have a spot at the table now when we're meeting with legislators, or we're meeting with lobbyists, or we're meeting with people that are maybe they think they're pro-gun, but they're anti-gun, or they're gun ignorant, right? So now we're educating about us.
Well, Mike, it's great because, you know, you're taking responsible gun owners and you're giving them information to help them be better gun owners, more responsible, instead of having the government do it for us.
Right.
And that is what we have been seeing over all of these years, is that the other side uses statistics, like I just saw you put on your Instagram account. And if you're not following that, do that immediately. I believe it's at WTTA.
At Walk the Talk US.
There you go. And it is something like 51% of all gun deaths involving a firearm, are suicides. I mean, we are over that halfway mark now. And the other side uses those statistics and says this is why guns need to be taken away, when really we're talking about an issue of despair.
Right.
People fall into despair. What do we do about that, right? And how do we head that up? And that is really your area of expertise.
Yeah, I think historically, like, we have always, as the industry, kind of shied away from those statistics, or like we kind of roll our eyes when we see those statistics. I run right towards those statistics, because being that we have our own solutions now, when I go into a place like maybe to say is like anti-gun or gun ignorant, I can use those statistics to make a case on why you need to listen to the gun industry, why what we're doing in the 2A community is important, right? So when I see the suicide number, I don't roll my eyes or go, well, they're just going to do it anyways. I'm like, no, let's do our best to provide those resources as the firearms industry, because our gun owners are going to go to the people they trust. And who do they trust? They trust the gun manufacturers, they trust the gun shops, they trust the firearms instructors, they trust the advocate the advocates that are walking around the show floor, right? Like they trust people that are not going to get their rights violated. So I think it's important that it comes from us. But I don't shy away from any of those statistics. Like any statistic, and they do a lot with the statistics. So like you can do whatever you want with the statistics, right? It's like gun violence, and you look at this giant number, but it doesn't break it down. You know, it needs to be broken down into buckets. But when I see those things, like I said, I get excited because I'm like, okay, listen to this. And the expectation level coming from the gun industry, from everybody outside of the gun industry, is so low that I know when I walk into that room and I'm like, here's what Ruger's doing, here's what Arms Corps doing, here's what High Point's doing, here's what Bursa's doing, you know, they're going to be like, okay, I need to sit down and listen, and because this is innovative stuff. This is stuff that has never been done before. No one ever thought that you could get gun manufacturers to put free and anonymous mental health screenings in the boxes of their firearms.
So Michael, what would you do? Like, so if you're a gun owner, responsible gun owner, and you see signs that just not right, maybe somebody in the family is just not, who do they call? How do they get help?
Well, it depends on, so there's different levels of crisis, right? I think everything can be handled within the household first. This is what I want gun owners to understand, that when you buy a firearm, like I said earlier, guns and mental health are not mutually exclusive. They go together. But what do we do when we buy a firearm if we don't know about firearms? We take a class. We learn about safety, right? Everybody in this room, like when we hear safety, when people are like, be safe, like we roll our eyes because gun owners tend to be some of the safest people on the planet. We watch movies and we literally point out the flaws in the movies, and it frustrates us, right?
Exactly.
But so we learn about that piece. We learn about responsible gun ownership. The second thing we learn when we buy a firearm, and if we take a CCW class, is you can't just shoot somebody and think your life's going to be easy. You're going to get away with it.
Into the sunset.
Right. Right.
That's not how that goes.
And now what I want is for every gun owner in the future to think, okay, now I need to have a better mental health and a suicide prevention plan that goes along with my gun ownership, right? And it needs to come from the gun side, right? Where it's like, okay, it's not somebody from outside our world telling us these things. It's Ruger, it's the companies, it's the advocates, it's everybody inside. So I don't want anyone to be in crisis. I want to catch them so early that they don't have to worry about calling a suicide prevention hotline number. But here's what I would suggest. If you have somebody in the household that maybe you feel could use some help, or maybe just needs to understand where they're at, have them take one of our free and anonymous mental health screenings on the website. Then go from there, right? Get a baseline, figure out where you're at.
The website is?
WTTA.org or WalkTheTalkAmerica.org.
So, what has been your proudest moment, your biggest accomplishment to date?
I have a lot of conversations. If you ask anybody that's involved in Walk Talk America, they will give you a different answer, right? Some people will say it's our advocacy work. For me, I think and these are all anecdotal because we don't share information. Right? Like unless someone volunteers their story and says, hey, I want to come on the podcast, or I want to write a testimonial, we're not going to take your information. It's hard enough when we go through crisis, but it's when we get contacted by a firearms owner that said something like, this changed my life, or this gave me hope, or I was in a really dark space, and little things like, hey, I had your wristband on and it really changed the course of my day and I thought about this. I think that's the best part. But the thing I'm most proud of is really giving the Second Amendment community a voice in this space. We always knew we were good people.
Yes.
I just think we never knew how to fit into these conversations, and all these negative outcomes of firearms were used against us, and we knew that. And then it's not easy to be called baby killers, standing on graves, like acting like we don't care about humanity and people, and all we want to do is sell guns. So I think it's great that, what I'm most proud of, besides the whole helping people, is giving the firearms industry the opportunity to come forward and be like, you need to listen to us, you need to see what we're up to save lives. It's innovative, it's unique, it's different, it's not just language, it's, I love that, right? I love what the work outside of the 2A community and how we've been accepted. I mean, we get love from the anti-gun side, you know what I mean? Like, that's how much the message resonates. It transcends all boundaries. That's what I love.
You are bridge builders in so many areas.
Yeah, I wish the public could see that firearm owners are much more than just firearms owners. We're a community, and we want to help.
Well, and you guys are leaning into kind of my last question is collaboration. Like, how do we all collaborate? And one of the things that Dan and I do is we own an auction house called Pot of Gold Estate Auctions, and we have been able to use that as a tool for collaboration with Walk the Talk America in benefit auctions. Mm-hmm. And so you've been brilliant, Michael, at reaching out and getting some great donations that then you can sign them to our auction, and then we sell them through auction. We've got happy everybody, right? And then we get to send a check to you to continue to do the work that you do.
Yeah, and I really, really appreciate that. And let me tell for the listeners so they understand. I don't get grants from the United States government. Every time I've applied for one, we've hired writers. It is so crucial for the firearms industry to rally behind this, right? Because you need money to keep the lights on, you need the programs, and we're lean and mean. So what you've done for me in the past with this auction, and then the one we want to do in the future, I think maybe we might kick it off maybe say in February. I really appreciate it. Everybody from Walk the Talk America appreciates it. But to collaborate, to come together, to find innovative ways to raise money, because times are tough, right? It doesn't go unnoticed, and I thank both of you from the bottom of my heart for that.
Well, we really like doing it, and I just want to add that, we don't get any money for that. We do it to support your group because we're in the industry and we need to help. We need to figure out something. So if anyone has guns that they'd like to donate, they can even be used guns. Yeah. Then contact Mike and we'll...
accessories, anything, yeah. Right? We have accessory companies that donate stuff for these auctions and things like that. And it's great because, like I said, all this is funded by the industry. I don't take $1 from anybody else. I mean, obviously you get private donations, but most of those are probably people from the firearms industry who are supporters of the mission, right? But it's just like I said, grant money, the government money, I've never been able to get it. It's a shame, but it doesn't matter. We can do it ourselves. That's the greatest part about our industry is we can rally around ourselves and do it ourselves. We actually don't even need that. I mean, we can collaborate with the mental health community, but we don't need the mental health community, right? They need us. We have the valuable space. We have everything. You know what I mean? We can do it.
Exactly. Well, Michael Sodini, thank you for all that you do. Thank you for taking this time out of this amazing show to sit down and chat with us. Tell folks at home how they can follow all the work that you're doing, and if they do happen to have a donation for an upcoming auction, possibly for February 2025, how would they go about reaching out about that?
So you can go to the website, WTTA.org or WalkTheTalkAmerica.org, or any of the social medias. We're on X, we're on Facebook, and we're on Instagram at WalkTheTalkUS, right? You can get in contact with us through there, donations, anything like that. Be creative. If you have some sort of way that you want to give back, like I said, it's not all about money. It's not all about donating things. Sometimes it could be just advocacy work, like, hey, I want to spread your message, but all of that is at the website. And feel free to contact us. We're very responsive and receptive to everybody's ideas. So.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. We so appreciate you.
Thank you for having me. I love you guys. Thank you.
All right, stick around. Lots more coming up from GOA's first annual G.O.A.L.S event 2024.